Hello everyone. So I know the lighting's a little bit funny, but it's early hours of the morning. Um, a little bit restless tonight, and a few things on my mind. And I thought this would be as good a time as any to talk about this. I want to talk about age and the whole concept of feeling young and doing things with life. It was my birthday a few days ago, the 1st of September, my 35th birthday, 35 years old or young, right? Um, wasn't the best birthday I've ever had, if I'm being totally honest. It was a bit forgettable. Um, spent it by myself, which isn't really a problem. That I often choose to do that because I like to reflect on things and just do my own thing. Sometimes, if you organise a party, it falls flat. Then, anyway, with current restrictions, that isn't possible. I did go to a local Indian restaurant that I always walk past. It's like literally a few streets away. Always good smells coming from there. It was pretty good. A little on the pricey side, but I can't complain. It was good food, good service as well. Um, but the day itself wasn't great. It was a bit. I slept in. I didn't do exactly what I wanted to do. It just wasn't. It was forgettable. You know, I've had better birthdays, put it that way. Um, 35, it's an interesting age, I guess, because in the UK at least, when you fill in questionnaires, um, 35 is one of the cut-off points. So, for example, it often says, what is your age group? And it's usually like 18 and under, 18 to 35, 35 to 50. That's sort of the usual thereabouts. So 35 is sort of seen as a cut-off point. Now, people are living longer today, at least in Western developed countries. Um, when I was born in the mid 80s, life expectancy in the UK was probably around mid 70s for men and about 80 for women. But now it's fairly common for people to make it well into their 80s. Um, so looking at that, 35 is still pretty young. And health-wise, I feel pretty good. Um, I've no major health problems. I'm pretty strong. I do exercise most days, not extensively, but and not consistently, but I do exercise. And I look after myself. So health-wise, I'm feeling okay. Um, but I can't help but feel older naturally than I was. Um, and that bothers me a little bit. Now, you might be watching this, you may be older, you may be 45, 50, 60. You may say, oh, this young guy doesn't know what he's talking about. Like, he's not my age. But I think the thing with age is it's very much a mental thing. Um, I know at 35, in the grand scheme of things, is fairly young, but it's also a point in life when decisions really matter. You can't mess around. You can't have the same mentality that you had at 20, and I don't. But um, it also sort of reiterates a time in life. I mean, a lot of my friends, I look at their lives and they're either my age or a little bit younger. And particularly female friends, I find a lot of my female friends are married and they've got children, and in most cases they're a bit younger than me. Um, and whilst I'm happy for them, it's a strange feeling. Now, I've no problem getting married at 40. I find the right woman and it's the right time. I think 40 is a bit older than normal, but I don't think it's too old. And in terms of male health and so on, I don't think that's. I think 40 is probably the cut-off point for men. I'm no expert, but from the very little information I do understand that still, a man can still be healthy at that age for producing children, for want of a better term. Um, it's not a priority right now. It's not something I'm thinking about, but certainly it's not something I would rule out. Um, but obviously, I need to meet the right woman. This year, my social life has been utterly lax. I touched on this in a previous video, and I'm certainly not alone. I reckon millions of people around the world have experienced this because this has been a very, very unusual year, 2020, with the influence that coronavirus has had on all of us. Um, I think everyone's social lives have been affected to an extent. Um, would it be any different if this was a normal year? I don't know. There's been times in my life when my social life has been great. Like it's been really energetic and I've been meeting loads of people and it's been great. Then there's been other times where there's been lengthy periods of it's just not been wonderful. And this isn't to say that I've no friends, I do, but put it this way, in my current situation, it isn't easy to meet women. And it's nothing to do with a lack of confidence or shyness or anything like that. I have a lot of female friends, and I'm fairly confident speaking to women. That isn't the problem. It's just about circumstance. And I admit that I'm a little scared of things not changing in life. Um, I'm making efforts to do things I can to change my life, to improve my life. By the way, I don't want to come across like I'm not particularly unhappy right now. I've no strong feelings. Life's just a bit dull right now, if I'm being honest. So it's not a case that I'm depressed. And if I was, I would be open about that because I think it's important to talk about mental health. But I'm not actually depressed at the moment. I'm just aware that this is my time in life. I always said to myself when I was younger that when I get to about my mid 30s or sometime in my 30s, I would go away somewhere, just some rural location, could be anywhere in the UK, just kind of spend a bit of time thinking about the way my life is, but and where I'm at and what things I've achieved, what things I want to achieve, disappointment, regrets, good memories, bad memories, just reflecting. I am going, I'm actually pursuing a project at the moment. I'm going to write my autobiography. Now, this is entirely a personal endeavor. I'm not going to publish it. Maybe in the future, if I become a public figure, I would consider it. But I'm going to do this as a sort of personal endeavor, um, kind of present to myself, so to speak. Help me just reflect on where I am in life. But anyway, this is kind of the theme I want to make with this video is about age. Um, I'm a big, big believer that life doesn't shouldn't be less exciting when you get to a certain age. Obviously, as you get older, your physical prowess isn't going to be what it was when you were younger. That's just not much you can do about that. Although obviously, if you look after yourself, there's no reason why you can't be pretty stoic and physically strong and healthy when you're older. But yeah, that's just a natural part of aging. But I'm a big believer that just because you're in your late 20s plus, life isn't over. I mean, I think that's madness. There's a special emphasis put on youth, say 25 and under, or let's expand that a little bit, 35 and under. So the implication there is okay, when you get over that, then life's over. Well, of course it isn't. That's crazy. It's absolutely insane. And I don't see any reason why someone who's 60 or 70 or 80 can't do something different and interesting. I don't see. That's why I really dislike the idea of settling down. Now, let me quantify this point. I'm not talking about you just have like you just like a party animal for your whole life. That's clearly I don't think that would be satisfying. In fact, I don't even like it. My university days were a bit chaotic, you know, it was clubbing every night. And I did not like it. You know, it gets very tiring, even boring after a while. So I'm not talking about that sort of life. But for me, the idea of settling down is off-putting because it's almost like you're just sort of accepting, well, get married, get a car, get a nice steady job. And I'm not saying those are bad things. Stability is an incredibly important thing. But I think a lot of people get into relationships, and this is maybe why, again, I'm no expert, but it's maybe why some marriages break down. People rush into it when they're too young, and then they're tied to the other person, and they might love them, but I think there's a lot of things there to do with personality. Now, I wouldn't want to be with a woman right now who's only interested in settling down. I would want a woman who is quite spontaneous, quite fun. You know, we could talk together, certainly mutual interests, but travel together, socialize with other people together. But I would like a woman with a youthful spirit. I'm not talking about very young, although my girlfriends have all been younger than me. But you know, I've met some young women who've been very attractive, very beautiful, in fact, but they've been put off-putting to me because their mentality is very much about, oh, I'm 25, I'm old. And to me, this is madness, especially, and I must admit, it bugged me a little bit because I was older than them, and I'm thinking, well, you're calling yourself old? What the hell? You're a young woman. Um, and you know, it's not for me to tell anyone else how to feel, but I think people need to resist this mentality. Obviously, you know, if you reach a certain age, it's a bit, I don't want to say pathetic, but it's a bit perhaps inappropriate to pretend you're a lot younger, like always hang about with really younger people and stuff. That might be a bit, it come across as desperate or something like that. But I just think we need to get away from this idea that because you get older, that life must then get dull. It must be all static. And I think there's a difference between stability and having a static life. I think there really is. I mean, there's nothing honourable about, and there's nothing clever about wanting a chaotic life, and it wouldn't be fair to expect a partner to be okay with that. But I don't know. I think it's very important to have a youthful mentality. I remember seeing a video. It was a old Chinese guy, and he really was old. He was in his early 80s. He looked fantastic. He had the body of a 40-year-old. Like this guy really looked after himself. He looked old. I mean, he had a beard. He looked like an old Confucian wise man, literally. But he said that his mentality was, there was an interview in Chinese who said that he took every day as if it was a new day, as if he was young again. Or not young again, but he came out with this really refreshing philosophy, and I thought it was wonderful. Now, I'm not saying that works with everyone. Obviously, this guy was a health enthusiast. You know, he obviously looked after himself. I'm not saying that can work for everyone, but I think keeping an active mind is extremely important. So I've many, many interests, and that's one thing that perhaps is on my side. I have a lot of interests. Each day I find out something new, and I can honestly say I'm never bored. Sometimes I get a bit depressed. I have good days, I have bad days, but I never ever have a situation where I'm thinking, oh, I don't know what to do because my mind is so active and I have so many interests. I think that's a very good thing. But I'm 35. I'm not 25. I'm not 45. Have I achieved everything I want in life so far? No. I've got disappointments, but am I miserable? No, I'm definitely not miserable either because I'm actually quite optimistic. You see, there's been times, and I hope this can be helpful for people who maybe are around my age, maybe they're feeling depressed. There's been times in my life where things have come really unexpectedly, good things. And I remember the times I was depressed, thinking how much in despair I was and thinking I was never going to change. And yet, things came after that that I could never have anticipated. Now, I'm not saying that tomorrow I'm going to meet some beautiful woman who will change my life. That's highly unlikely. But I do think that the world today is more interconnected than ever before, but it's also, I don't know, I think there's actually a lot of opportunities. Sometimes we're overwhelmed with opportunities, but there's obviously competition with that, particularly with the current economic climate. Anyway, I don't want to branch off into too many different subjects here. Oh, I'm just musing. I'm just musing. So let me know your thoughts. How do you feel about your age? Be candid, you know. I mean, I don't look at people who are 60 or 70 and think, oh, that's an old, dull person. I think they're an individual and they could be, yeah, I've met older people who I've come across, I don't mean people I personally know, but I've known of people who lived to 90, 100, and they never once in their lives left their region. Now, that to me is incredibly sad. And I don't mean sad as in I look down on them. I mean it's sad, sad. It's a sad thing. Um, I think one thing with the modern world is, notwithstanding coronavirus, we've had opportunities to travel more than ever before. I mean, at 35, I've been to 14 countries, three continents, and I would say that isn't that unusual these days. You know, wind back 100 years, that would have been unthinkable for most Britons. So, in that sense, there is opportunities like never before, but there's also barriers and challenges. And anyway, I'm just musing here, just musing. So let me know your thoughts. I really think that a lot of it is about looking after yourself. That's kind of common sense. You know, if you're living a really wild lifestyle, it may be great at 20, but when you're my age, um, it will either get very boring or it will have its effects. So funny thing is, a lot of people think I'm younger. I may have to shave tonight. I've got this tash, but I did. I have mixed feelings about that. Sometimes it's sad, annoying. Other times I'm kind of flattered that they think I'm young. It's strange though because I'm a very serious person, and sometimes I feel old, or I feel my age rather. Yet people think I'm younger. So a lot of it's down to mentality as well, I think. Anyway, let me know your thoughts. Thanks for watching.